All right, well, I'll start off. I want to wish Coach Dick a happy birthday. Pretty cool day for him, and so happy birthday to Coach. As far as injuries are concerned, Coop still has the hamstring. He was out yesterday. Khalil has the ankle. He was out yesterday, still day-to-day. And then Prince, hamstring, and he was limited yesterday. And then Allen Robinson has a groin, and he was limited yesterday. So the approach is trying to be cautious, and you know, I think that's the best thing for us as we go here. So we had a good day yesterday overall. Good to get back out there. The energy was good. The guys were flying around, and you know, looking forward to getting back out there today and just getting better each and every day.
And encouraging that Prince was able to do something. How did he look to you?
He looked good. Yeah, I thought he looked good. And you know, for us, that's important. You know, he's a great player for us. He's a leader, has experience. So we were glad to see that.
Anything changed in terms of Mac day to day?
Day to day, everything. Yep, same thing for him, for Khalil.
Where did Robinson's injury crop up?
His was more of just kind of. It's just been a natural thing. It's just kind of for him, just more so. I think he felt it a little bit in the game, but nothing too crazy. And then over in practice, he's just kind of. We're just trying to be cautious. That's all.
Where's the value for a new team in playing a team like the Patriots that are the standard for sustained success?
What's that? Say it again.
Where's the value for a new team?
Yeah. Well, it's for us, it's a great challenge, because I think ultimately as players. So when you know you have that opportunity to go against that, you know you're playing, you know, the best, and so you get to see where you're at. And for us, coming off of a tough loss, as we grow this thing together, we get to kind of evaluate who we are and how we respond to a little bit of adversity.
When we think about what's possible for you guys this Sunday, looking back on the Week 1 game you guys played against them in Kansas City last year, where you beat them on the road and you put up 537 yards.
Right.
What did that win do for that team internally?
It was great confidence for that team, and when we were there, the thing that I can remember about that game as a team in Kansas City was the belief of everybody going into that thing. And I think, kind of going back to it, I may be a little bit off, but I think going into it, there wasn't much consideration to the Chiefs having a chance. But internally, we knew we felt good, and that was nothing against New England, but that's just how we felt. When you have that as players, and you have a belief in yourself and your teammates and everybody, it's crazy how that can help you in so many different ways. And so that's where I'm trying to see where we're at as a group right now, and we're hammering that home, that it's important to have respect for your opponents, but also the belief in yourself too, of where you're coming, what we can do, and what the future holds for us.
Do you sense that growing?
I do, yeah, I really do. And that's where, as we go through this journey, living in that whole instant gratification world that we're all in, that's where it's my job to make sure that everybody in these four walls of this building understand that this is a long process, and don't get caught up in all the other stuff. And let's all be together on everything. And so I see complete growth in all three phases. I see growth in relationships with the players between each other, and the players trusting the coaches trusting players. And to see that, that's valuable.
Is there a line to walk between being excited to face a team like the Patriots and having any sense of awe that you're?
None. Again, respect, but we're excited. And that's where I think the experience of players, the experience of coaches, is just that's how we do things. That's the way that we want to do things. And again, that's how we're trying to create our own identity of who we are. And you got to do it now. You got to go out and perform. But at the same time, we'll always respect our opponents. Always, there'll never be a disrespect. But we're gonna give them everything we got, and hopefully that's makes us better in the end.
You said yesterday, focusing on what you guys do as opposed to maybe what they're going to do. But the Patriots seem to have this ability to make teams do uncharacteristic things just because of the way they are.
Right.
How do you avoid that when you get into the game, fourth quarter, things like that.
Yeah, that's that whole chasing the cat's tail thing, and you start all of a sudden you start out thinking to yourself, you're like, well, what the heck, you know, that's the mystique, and that's what they do. Again, they've earned that over time because of the success that they've had. So when you don't go too crazy with that and you balance it and you control what you control, then in the end, win, lose, or draw, no matter what, you at least feel good that you approached it the right way and you weren't saying, oh, shoot, you know, I should have did this or should have, could have, would have, you know.
Do you have a sense for how the defense handled learning from Sunday's game and kind of the mindset after that loss from their side of the ball?
Won't know for sure until this next game, but I can see from in practice flying around the discussions we've had in the room together, all of us, just talking about the game in general, why things happened, how we could have been better, how we were good in certain environments in certain parts of that game, and then being real and honest with each other, accepting responsibility across the board, and so I won't know the ultimate answer. Not even, I mean, you can say this next game coming up, but again, until this season's over, that's when I think we can truly, you know, it's such a long journey until this season's over. That's where you'll really be able to truly evaluate and say, okay, this is, you know, how we are as a team.
Sunday was such a different game from the first half to the second half. How encouraging is it knowing that your team can regroup, make adjustments, and make changes on the field midway through a game?
It's very encouraging, and we've gone into that locker room at halftime in different situations, and for us, you know, we've gone in down 14-0 or whatever it was, 17-0 in Arizona. We've gone up 20-0 in Green Bay. It's 7-0 in this past game, and so. And then in Tampa Bay at home, we had a high-scoring game in the first half. So for us, and so it was you're learning how to come out in the third quarter and start the next two quarters. I like that for us, and it's not the same every week. And so we're seeing the character of our guys, and I was really encouraged by the way that really both sides came out and on all cylinders and went right down the field and scored, and then now, again, we go back to we got to finish. Again, all three phases got to finish.
Matt, back to the defense, the pass rush wasn't there like it had been last week as opposed to weeks prior. How much is that something that's important this week, getting pressure on Tom Brady, and what happens if you have a game like last week with the pass rush?
Well, that's, you know, you no matter whether it's Tom Brady or any other quarterback in the league, I believe that, you know, you have to be able to disrupt them. Now, there's different ways to do that, and that's the gamesmanship part of it. Anytime that any quarterback is able to have some time in the pocket or space, now it's a matter of, you know, how effective are you with your DBs and with your linebackers and zone coverage, et cetera. And so, I mean, the obvious answer is that he can pick you apart with too much time. So that's where you have to be able to have an idea of what you want to do, what's your game plan, and how do you want to tackle them. And it's going to be different every week. Every team's going to be different. And that's the part that we'll see on Sunday.
Man, what's your
Was Leonard Floyd fined for the Amendola hit on Sunday? Are you aware yet of that?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Did you get an explanation on the roughing the passer call?
With the hit to the helmet? Yeah. Yeah, you know, just the brushing the head of the helmet with the forearm.
Did you turn that one in?
That one there is we saw that as a, you know, that was pretty. I thought it looked like he hit him. You know.
With regard to Brady, what's your philosophy on late game situations where you don't want to give a guy like Tom Brady time to beat you, and scoring in a hurry to take a lead or whatever is actually a detriment? How much do you figure, well, we'll just score and worry about it, defense, or do you actually do you feel like you're going to be the kind of guy who plays the clock and gives him and doesn't give him that time?
Well, you know, there's answers to both of those. What I'm not going to do is give that answer right now. Do that. So I'm going to hold that to myself and let our team know what we're going to do.
Is there even more of a sense of urgency coming into this game to not only bounce back from last week, but to prevent a 3-3 record, to maintain that winning record?
I feel like we always kind of have that sense of urgency. We've started to put ourselves in a good position, and One of the things that I feel like I've learned over my time as a coach, being around different environments, is that this thing really is a marathon. But then you have to be able to explain it to your team to understand, with it being a marathon, you still have to start fast and put yourself in good position. And so when you do start fast and you get opportunities to be even better and improve, then you got to take advantage of those. So right now, with where we're at, we're getting close to that point of where we're getting to the middle of the season. And then after that, every game becomes just bigger and bigger. So when you have, our mindset is, let's make sure that when we're at home, we always protect home field advantage. And we use our fans that are there with us to help us. That's a huge part of the game. And so when you do that and you protect your home field, I think that's something that we want to try to focus on.
Matt, when they go with 3 safeties, what type of challenges does that present for an offense?
So they do a lot of different things with their personnel, and that's, again, part of their scheme that they're good with. They have unique personnels where they can put guys in certain spots, and maybe a safety is a linebacker, maybe a linebacker is a D lineman, and so I think that they're good at that. And now what we need to do is try to do our homework and see what we think is best for us to attack those type of personnel groupings.
Matt, Mitch actually has a higher passer rating than Tom Brady right now. It's still early, but what does it say about Mitch's development the last couple of games?
You want to say that one more time? No, in all honesty, I'll tell you this. I'm looking forward to this whole, every game, every day, every week, but really game by game, I'm really excited to see how Mitch improves. And right now, yeah, he's had a couple games that have been, he's put together some good numbers. We want to win though, and I say it to the guys. I mean, right, the numbers don't matter. It's all about the letters. In the end, that's all that matters, is those letters. And so that's what you should be judged on, is letters, and then whatever numbers come with it, great. But let's get the wins. And so he's improving. He's getting better within this offense. He's feeling much more comfortable. His teammates are feeling more comfortable. I did not know that about the rating, but I think it just shows who he is as a player, that he cares, he works hard, and he still has a lot of growth ahead of him.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
want the
There.
part where you're busting
Joe
out
West.
stats from last
You guys talking baseball? I haven't seen any of it. Go ahead.
What was your message on Monday to the team or Tuesday to the team about the tackling issues that cropped up in Miami?
Well, obviously it wasn't good enough. It wasn't who we've been here in the past, even throughout the stay. And it was disappointing and something that's got to be corrected.
Do you have any sense on what caused it?
Not really.
Was there a theme though during the game, like on the missed tackles, or were they all uniquely missed tackles?
I'm not sure. All of them are bad to look at.
How confident are you that it's just an aberration, it's just a one-time thing that you guys are just going to kind of revert to the previous form?
I hope that's what it is, but time will tell.
In your experience, can defenses have blips like that where just one day they have a bad tackling day and then it's back to normal?
I think so. Some teams have bad days in a lot of ways, and that was one of ours.
On the fumble that Akeem forced in overtime, what caught your eye about the way he made that play and what he did there to make that possible?
Yeah, it was a great individual play by him. He really came off the ball with power, knocked the line of scrimmage back, got the back, knocked it out. It was a tremendous play, you know, especially when you factor in, I believe it was play 75 of the game in those conditions.
In the time you've been with Akeem, what have you appreciated most about being with him?
Well, his ability to make plays, and I like him personally as a guy. Sometimes I think he can do more than he does, but I like the way he plays, and I like him as a guy, and I think he's still got more that he can do.
Vic, did the Dolphins provide other teams like the Patriots or anyone else a template for how to keep your defense off their quarterback by the way they did it Sunday?
I don't know that. You know, we'll see. I don't think so.
Based on what you know about Khalil, is he a guy who could go through a week without practicing potentially and then be able to play Sunday?
You know, not having been around him for a whole lot of time, I don't really know the answer to that, but I think so.
Vic, why were the Dolphins so efficient at protecting their quarterback, especially with as much success as you had against others?
You know, they were getting it out fairly quickly at times. They did a good job blocking us.
We all know how good Tom Brady is for your defense, looking to bounce back. What do you want to see? Are you seeing from them this hunger to get back out there and show?
Yeah, we had a good day of practice yesterday and meetings so far this week, and obviously Brady isn't the guy you want to order up for that, but you know, I think we'll play good on Sunday.
How has the return of Julian Edelman kind of made that offense click lately?
Well, it's really helped him. You know, he's a guy that Brady has played with. Brady always has had a guy in the slot that he's comfortable with, you know, whether it be Welker, Amendola, Edelman. And it's a big part of their offense. And, you know, they haven't missed a beat, even though he missed a lot of time. And I think it's really helped their offense and played a big part in them basically averaging 40 points the last 3 weeks.
Do you want, it sounded yesterday like your guys were going to treat Brady like just another quarterback, but is there a line between the respect to have and not being in awe of the guy?
Well, I think what they mean when they say that is they got to do their job, you know, and they all know and appreciate and respect how good a player he is and has been. I think it's more of that than treating him as another guy. He's not another guy.
How would you assess Leonard's start to the season so far?
I think last week he probably played his best, you know, as far as being active. I think it was the first game that he used his hand almost back to normal. There's still a little bit more that can be improved there as far as his confidence and usage of it. So I think that was good. But then prior to that, I think he was really affected by it.
Vic, on the play Gronkowski made to set up the game-winning field goal for the Patriots on Sunday, if you can recall that, what about that sequence signifies why he's dangerous?
Well, it's just who he is. I mean, he had one-on-one coverage, and he's big, and him and Brady have karma. Brady has total confidence in throwing it to him. and they think he can win the one-on-one matchup, and he did.
As a coordinator, how do you figure out how to match up with him, whether it's the linebacker or safety, how to go about that process?
Well, it's different throughout the game because, you know, in certain situations you might be able to give them some attention, but what's getting lost in all of it is, you know, how well they're running the ball. And, you know, the things you need to do to be solid against the run may not help you against him, or, you know, somebody's got to play him one-on-one when you're doing that. So, and that's why they're really good. You know, they got balance running past. They got balance in Edelman, Gronk, and Gordon, and Oben. You know, they got guys.
What do you appreciate about him as a blocker?
Gronk, he's good at it. You know, he's big. I think he takes pride in it and likes to do it and thinks it's part of being a tight end in the NFL.
In talking to some of your guys yesterday in the locker room, they felt like they didn't tackle well on Sunday against the Dolphins. What have the conversations been like with them this week, or how have you approached that in practice?
Well, it's hard to address it in practice physically, you know, when you have one day of pads and you go through tackling drills, get back to the fundamentals, emphasize it, show them where their mistakes were, and hopefully get it corrected by Sunday.
With Mac being day-to-day, have you noticed anybody kind of stepping up to fill the void that he might leave on Sunday if he doesn't play?
It would just have to be a combination of Leonard, Aaron, and Isaiah.
How hampered do you think he was?
He was. I can't put a percentage on it, but he definitely was.
I think the Patriots are really efficient at those quick hitters and screens and plays that get them into advantageous down and distance situations. How do you protect against that or defend that without giving up the big play?
Yeah, hard. That's why they're averaging 40 points a game the last 3 weeks. They're good at it, and they got good players, and the quarterback operates it at a very high level. You got to be able to play your stuff. You know, guys got to be able to win. We'll have guys on those guys, people that are supposed to be there, and we got to make the plays.
As talented as your team is now, do you ever feel like you have the man-for-man advantage against an offense like the Patriots have? Where if you do your stuff and they do their stuff, you're going to win?
You know, you got to think that way, okay? Because there's times you have to play that way, but there's times you have to mix it up and help guys in certain situations.
Why do you think scoring is up the way it is?
You know, obviously over the years, rules have changed to help the offenses. Going all the way back to the 5-yard chuck rule. I mean, there's a lot. Most of the time, colleges and high schools adopt the rule changes the NFL makes. It kind of filters down. They never got that one. You know, the penalties. You know, all these roughing the passers penalties that are being called are keeping drives alive. I mean, that's part of it. And the games become more spread out. And I think that ultimately results in more points at times.
Even the jump between last year and this year.
I'm not aware of what it is.
It was 50 more touchdowns through 5 weeks.
All right.
Is that a penalty thing or?
I don't know. It's you know, things like that are probably a lot of little things added up, but that's not good for us.
With the exception of like last week, when he was performing really well in the beginning of the season, how much of a measuring stick is going up against Patriots offense this week?
Well, like I've said before here, and every week's a measuring stick. It really is. And obviously we didn't measure up very well this past Sunday. And now we got a great opportunity to go out there against one of the top offenses in the league, one of the top quarterbacks that's ever played the game. So, yeah, but we got 16 of those.
With all those changes seemingly always going in the offensive favor, does that ever get frustrating for you?
When I initially read it or hear about it, but then it's, hey, those are the rules. We got to play by them. You know?
Vic, on Fuller's second interception on Sunday, what created that opportunity for him? What did he do well?
He played with really good technique. He saw the route, saw the quarterback, and made a great break and a great catch on the ball. You know, it was a great play. His two interceptions were great plays. And a lot of times, some of the times, I should say, interceptions, you get a tip ball or kind of easy plays. His were two really, really good plays.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Who's got this?
Yeah.
Mark, what's it like, been like this week to game plan for a Bill Belichick defense? Your first time in the NFL to kind of scheme against them?
Yeah. I mean, no sense of joy necessarily, but it's obviously a challenge. They've been really good for a long time. And I think we're so much at this point, we're still so focused on improving not only week to week, game to game, but day to day in terms of how we operate and how our guys kind of have responded to a little bit, some highs and lows as far as doing some things well, doing some things not as well as we'd like to. But it all comes, all comes back to trying to put them in the best position to go out and just play with total confidence.
Before the Dolphins game, some of the conversation was how Mitch would respond coming off the bye week, coming off his 6 touchdowns against the Buccaneers.
Beyond the statistics against the Dolphins, what did you guys hear Hal Saw specifically like about what he did in Miami?
I think he did a really good job in both instances of responding how you want a guy to respond. After the Tampa Bay game, it's not like we sat back and kicked our feet up and just chilled for the week. We're hypercritical of all those things that we could have done better in a statistically healing game, and then you go back to a game like Miami again. There was some mixed bag. Obviously, the turnovers on offense, killed us. Some of those on us as coaches, some of those on other elements. But I think he's done a great job of just focusing on improvement. literally, we talked about it last week, literally play to play in practice, minute by minute. He's a routine oriented guy. He loves the process of preparing for a game, and that's big.
One of those micro improvements that Mitch has talked about a couple different times is learning how to better make subtle moves in the pocket to create either as a runner or as a passer. What specifically are you dialing in on in that regard to see what he's doing in that regard?
Yeah, you said it best, subtle movement, and quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are basically you want to be in a balanced passing position as long as you possibly can, and then move. Those micro. It's 6 inches sometimes. Sometimes it's 2 feet, and 3 feet or 4 feet becomes way too much. And obviously people have different rush patterns and how they try to affect a quarterback or affect his vision. Anybody. Last week there were some speed rush elements to it where we might have just moved a little bit too far. We had one chance in the red zone if we just make a subtle little reset. We've got Trey open on a probably a touchdown. So again, just those are things, footwork, the timing, the tempo of all those things are things that's something you have to do every day.
When you mentioned it, Trey, what is the movement you'd like to see in that regard, and when was that play?
It was the one, I can't remember exactly. Yeah, he ended up, exactly. Went down late, and again, just a slight movement, an 18-inch reset with your eyes up, you're going to bang it to Trey for a touchdown, and everybody's going, here we go. And the difference in that is subtle, and whether it's your eyes coming down or your movement being too much, that can happen. And we had another situation later that that's kind of one that's on us of how we had the protection, maybe not as secure as it should have been, and we can coach that better. Had another chance to hit Trey on kind of another like wheel route concept, but again, those are things that will get worked out.
Mitch just talked about being a reps guy, a creature of habit, all that sort of stuff. But what do you learn about him when he goes into halftime and you guys make adjustments and he picks them up the way he does?
He's been awesome. I think he's one of those guys and guys are different. Even the highly effective guys, they need to watch it on film before they understand what happened. I've had guys like that in the past, and he's a guy that comes off the sideline, he immediately knows what happened, almost without exception. I mean, there's some times, something happens behind him, obviously, he knows something happened, but it not necessarily what it was. But he knows almost without exception, hey, this shoulda, coulda, woulda happened, or man, I was early to this or late to this, whatever the case may be. If it's him, he knows, and certainly if it's somebody else, he's done a great job and he's earned the right to communicate to those guys. And sometimes that's patting him on the back and saying I need you, and sometimes he's starting to get after guys a little bit, which is good.
At halftime, did he get after guys a little bit?
I don't know. I'm down there for like 12 seconds. That's one thing about the NFL I'm learning. The halftime is get down there, talk for 30 seconds, and run back to the press box. I was gone if that took place.
What do you come to value most about Trey as you've watched him fit into this offense?
Just his experience in a very similar system, and he's done a great job of kind of some of those subtle things to Mitch of, hey, usually the timing is A, B, and C, or whatever it may be. He's done a great job with the tight end group and kind of, I think, being almost another set of eyes as a guy who's seen several thousand reps in this system, and that helps the receivers as well.
He has made a couple of those plays, and he obviously can make plays when he gets out the pocket. But I mean, what's going through your mind when these are happening?
Heart attack, modified heart attack in both those instances, and that was actually one of the ones that we had Trey on the sideline, and we'll put that on us as far as how we could have coached that differently. But yeah, that's just you're always, you never want to temper a guy to a point that he's afraid to fire it, and he's not. But you do want to be smart with the ball, and certainly in those situations there were some other things going on that we could have done a little bit better.
How did Tariq handle the fumble? Just the aftermath of it?
I mean, just how you'd want him to. I mean, he's a competitive guy. I thought both those guys, again, you don't want this, but when it happens, you want them to handle it the right way. And the first guy out to talk to Jordan was Tariq, and vice versa. You know, so a good little, teammate moment on some guys that they're competitive guys, both individually and his teammates, and that that's as good a way as you can handle it. And we're going to give the ball right back to him.
I asked Mitch yesterday about his back shoulder throw to Allen Robinson down to the 3-yard line there. What do you like specifically about how that play kind of unfolded? He said there was a check, and just what are your thoughts? Sorry.
Yeah, those guys, are developing some nice chemistry, and you saw, I thought, Mitch made a couple just big time throws to Taylor Gabriel. I think they're getting some chemical reaction happening, and he and Allen have always kind of been on the same page when Allen has been available. He wasn't available for a long time, and that was one of the first things that we tried to cultivate is those guys. Those guys have done a lot of things together, and again, just more and more reps with Trey, with Anthony, with Taylor, all the other guys that have the ball in their hands. That's valuable. You got to get as many kind of those, sort of off schedule, sort of feel type of plays.
Mark, with Matt handling play calling, in that 3.5-hour window on Sundays, what are your biggest responsibilities, and where have you found your greatest value is within the confines of the game?
I don't know. On the latter part of that, I think just we're constantly just communicating, and so whether that's something we're doing or something they're doing, or hey, this is exactly what we expected. We're all talking next series, next situational type awareness things that are coming up. Just that game plan, game management type of stuff.
Do you like being an upstairs set of eyes as opposed to being down on the floor? Do you have a preference as a coach, of the vantage point of a game?
I mean, the vantage point up top is way better. Certainly, you get used to it being on the sideline, but yeah, either one's good.
I know every week you guys are going to face unscouted looks or things Mitch has never seen before, but it seems like with New England, just because everyone knows so much about them, that number might ramp up. How can you prepare him for something like that when you just don't know what's going on?
That's a great question. You can go back 20 years and see something that they did against these three opponents in whatever year, and it's exactly the same as what they did maybe 3 years ago against somebody else, and then it's totally different the next week. And so they obviously do a great job of that. And it's where you just kind of go back to you gotta worry about yourself. You gotta obviously protect, take care of the ball. Your strengths.
How do you limit how much film you can watch? Because if you want to watch every Belichick coach defensive game, you'd be here all year. Yeah. How do you cap? Okay, we're not going to worry about 4 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever.
Right. You have to, in some ways, and situationally, certainly, of you pare some of those things down, whether it's goal line, short yardage, or whatever the segment of the game plan is, but. There's a ton of film. At some point, you have to call uncle and go with what you think. Hey, they'll play this system like this and this type of quarterback like this, and just make your best guess.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mark.
When you see the Chiefs had the long kickoff return last week against New England, when you see that happen against an opponent, how do you balance maybe there's something there with also knowing that Bill and the Patriots might also kind of try to fix whatever happened?
I mean, you study it, and you look at the scheme and you try to maybe look at things maybe you can do with that. But I mean, every team's different. The matchups are different. So I mean, you look at it, you study it, but it doesn't say, hey, that's what you're going to do.
What did you learn about
Oh, he's always been like that. I mean, he hit a good ball. His line was just off. I mean, his career going in, he was 7 of 8, over 50 yards. So I'll be honest with you, I thought he was going to make it. And next time we have that situation, I know he'll make it.
You see anything with the snap or the hold that was maybe off on that missed field goal?
No, it wasn't bad. It could be a little bit better, but it wasn't. It didn't make the ball. It didn't cause the miss.
With Matt in that situation is, you know, the play calling to set that up, because obviously you and Cody know his range. I mean, what are those conversations like in that moment?
Oh, we're all on the same page with what's going on and where we need to get to and how we're going to get there. You know, at the end of the day, we got to do a better job, obviously, going out and executing that play.
I'm curious, just in your history with dealing with kickers, we had Robbie here for so long. He was so adamant in taking ownership and being vocal about mistakes and stuff like that. How is Cody amongst his teammates and stuff like that in these instances?
Cody's, like I've always stated, he's a true pros pro. Very calm. He's very calm under pressure. I went up to him right after the game, and he said, "Coach, I missed it. I'm good." And I said, I know you are. I'm not even worried about you. I mean, he's very mentally strong, and that's why he's a good player. You know, he knows what he needs to do and what he needs to do to correct it, and we'll get those things corrected. And I know that he's chomping at the bit, and so am I, for him to have the next opportunity. Just like what he did in Arizona when it was time to hit the field goal to go ahead. I mean, he drilled it. So I know he'll get it done. It's dangerous. I mean, you need to get in front of this guy. I mean, that's a locomotive coming downhill. Really good player, obviously in Minnesota, then in Oakland, and now in New England. I mean, he's ripped off a couple earlier in the year, so we're well aware of him. We need to do a good job there. All right, guys, thanks.